of crystalline solids. Crystalline solids can be classified into four categories based on the nature of intermolecular forces. Based on the nature of the intermolecular forces, based on the molecular forces, it can be classified into four different types, namely molecular, ionic, metallic and covalent solids. Molecular, ionic, metallic, covalent solids. First one is molecular solids. Molecules are the constituent particles of the molecular solids. Constituent means the different types of combination of different types, two or more substances. Molecules are the constituent particles of the molecular solids. These are further divided into three types. Molecular solids are mainly subdivided into three types. They are non-polar molecular solids, polar molecular solids and hydrogen bonded molecular solids. What are non-polar molecular solids? What are its constituent particles? In these solids, the constituent particles are either atoms of noble gases or non-polar molecules. Okay, the non-polar molecules constituent particles are either atoms or non-polar molecules. Atoms like atoms of noble gases, that is helium, argon, neon, etc. Whereas non-polar molecules like hydrogen, chlorine, iodine, CH4, etc. In these solids, the atoms or molecules are held by weak dispersion forces or London forces. These are held by some different forces, that is London forces or weak dispersion forces. Some important characteristics of non-polar molecular solids. There are some important characteristics of non-polar molecular solids are: these are soft and non-conductor of electricity. These non-polar molecules are very soft. For example, chlorine, iodine, helium are very soft and they do not conduct electricity at molten state as well as in the solid state. They are low melting point. They melt at a very low temperature. They are liquid or gaseous state at a room temperature and pressure. They are liquid and gas state. They are liquid or gaseous state in the room temperature and pressure. Second type of molecular solid is polar molecular solid. Polar molecular solids. In the solids, the constituent particles are polar molecules like HCl, SO2, etc. Okay, the molecules of substances like HCl, SO2 are formed by the polar covalent bonds. These are formed mainly by the polar covalent bonds. These are formed by polar covalent bonds. The molecules in such solids are held together by the strong dipole-dipole attractions. These are mainly held together. They are mainly held together strongly by the dipole-dipole attraction. Whereas in non-polar molecular solids, they are mainly held by the London forces or weak dispersion forces. Here are some important characteristics of polar molecular solids. They are soft and non-conductor of electricity. These HCl, SO2, etc. are very soft and they do not conduct any type of electricity. They are high melting point. Their melting point is very high. Whereas in the non-polar molecule solids, we found that the melting point is very low. These are gases or liquids under room temperature and pressure. The gases or liquids under the room temperature and pressure. For example, solid SO2, solid NH3, etc. In the polar molecular solids, we found that they are soft and non-conductor electricity. Same in the non-polar molecule. Whereas non-polars have low melting point, polars have high melting point. Non-polars are liquid or gaseous state at room temperature and pressure, whereas same in the polar molecular solids. Some of the characteristics are similar to the non-polar molecular solids. The third type of molecular solid is hydrogen bonded molecular solid. Hydrogen bonded molecular solids. In these solids, the constituent particles are such molecules which contain hydrogen atom linked to a highly electronegative atom such as FON, fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen. Okay. In this type of solid, the constituent particle must and should be a hydrogen, which should be a must and should be bonded to a electronegative atom, which is highly electronegative atom, such as only 3, that is 4. Shortcut is 4. that is fluorine, oxygen and nitrogen. For example, you can take H2O, NH3, etc. These molecules are held together by the strong hydrogen bond. Okay, hydrogen bonded molecular solids are held together by the strong hydrogen bond. The molecules of such solids contain the polar covalent bonds. These contain the polar covalent bonds between the H and F, O or N atoms. The strong hydrogen bonding binds molecules of such solids like H2O, etc. Some of the important characteristics of hydrogen bonded molecular solids are, here are only two important characteristics in the hydrogen bonded molecular solids. These are, they are non-conductors of electricity. They do not conduct any type of electricity. They are non-conductors. Okay. They are volatile liquids or soft solids under room temperature and pressure. Generally, they are volatile liquids or soft solids under the room temperature and pressure. These are the some of the important characteristics of hydrogen bonded molecular solids. Second important classification of crystalline solid is ionic solids. In these solids, ions are the constituent particles of the ionic solids. Here the ions are the main constituent particle of the ionic solids, whereas in the molecular solids we found that molecules are the constituent particles of the molecular solids. These are formed by the three-dimensional arrangement of the cations and anions bound together by the strong Coulombic electrostatic force of attraction. Okay. These ionic solids are mainly formed by the three-dimensional 3D arrangement of the cations and ions. They are bound mainly strong by strong Coulombic electrostatic forces. Characteristics of ionic solids. Some of the important characteristics of ionic solids are, these are hard and brittle in nature. They are very hard and brittle in nature. Hard and brittle in nature. Brittle means they are breakable. They are breakable. They are high melting points and boiling points. They have high melting points and boiling points, whereas we can be electrical insulators in the solid state. They are electrical insulators. Electrical insulators means they do not allow easily to flow the current. However, in the molten state or in the aqueous solutions, they are good conductors of electricity. In the aqueous state or in the molten state, they act as a good conductors of the electricity. Three important characteristics: they are hard and brittle, have high melting points and boiling points. They are electrical insulators as well only in the solid state, compulsory, only in the solid state. However, these in the molten state or in the aqueous solution, they are good conductors of electricity. Metallic solids. We know that metals are orderly collection of positive ions. They are orderly collection of positive ions surrounded by the negatively charged, that is of free electrons. Okay. In these solids, the constituent particles are positively charged metal ions and free electrons. One is positively charged metal ions and another one is free electrons. They are the constituent particles of the metallic solids. Each metal atom contributes one or more electrons towards the sea of a mobile electrons. These mobile electrons are attracted by the positive ions. These electrons are mobile and are evenly spread out throughout the crystals. Each metal atom contributes one or more electrons towards the sea of mobile electrons. These free and mobile electrons are responsible. For the high electrical and thermal conductivity. Okay. Some of the characteristics of a metallic solids. They possesses high electrical and thermal conductivity. They possesses the high electrical as well as the high conduction of heat, that is high thermal conductivity. This is because on applying electrical current, electrons starts flowing towards the positive. As we all know, electrons are negatively charged particles. They attract towards the positively charged particles. So, on applying the electric current, electrons move towards the positively charged electrode. They possess luster and color. Luster means shining. They have a shining appearance and they also possess some amount of a color. They are highly malleable and ductile. They are very highly malleable. Malleable, that means they can be changed into different shape. That is, they can be hammered, can be made into a different shape. Whereas they are ductile. Ductile means they can be made to a thin sheet. To make thin sheet is known as ductility. Okay. Third type of classification of crystalline solid is covalent or network solids. In these solids, the constituent particles are non-metal atoms. Okay, in the covalent solids, the constituent particle is mainly the non-metal atom. Okay, and they are very held together by the covalent bonds. They are held together by the covalent bonds. These are called as giant molecules. These are called as giant molecules because it consists of a large number of atoms, large number of atoms bonded together by the covalent bond. So they are called as giant molecules. Here are some important characteristics of the covalent bonds. Very important characteristics. They are very hard and brittle. They are very hard as well as little breakable. That is known as brittle. Now they have extremely high melting points. They have very high melting points. They are insulators. They are known as insulator because they do not allow the heat to flow. No passage of heat in the insulators. Okay. In the case of the covalent or network solids, here is one exception which you have to remember. Chemistry is all about the exception. Okay. The exception in the case of a covalent network solids. In the covalent solids, there is one exception. There is one exception which we have to accept it. It is universally accepted. We have to accept it. Okay. When you look at these two structure, this is a network structure of a diamond and this is a structure of a graphite. Look at the two structures carefully. Okay. There is exception in the graphite. We have to accept some case in the graphite. What is that? Okay. Normally when you look at the structure, when you look at the diamond structure, you observe that each carbon is attached to the 4 carbons. Each carbon is attached to the 4 carbons. But in the case of a graphite, you observe that each carbon is attached to the 3 carbons. Now wonder where is the 4th carbon, where it goes. Okay, here the 4th electrons is free. The 4th electron is free. 4th electron is free instead. So we can find the free layer. With every layer there is one free electron. With every one layer there is one free electron in the structure of a graphite. Every layer. Okay, these free electrons make us to conduct the electricity. So they are a good conductor of electricity. Graphite is a good conductor of electricity. Graphite is soft. Actually the covalent solids are very hard. But in the case of a graphite, there is an exception that graphite is a soft and conductor of electricity. It is mainly due to its structure. It is mainly due to the structure where we find the 1 carbon is attached to the 3 carbon and another carbon is acted as a layer of an electron. In this case, carbon atoms are arranged in a different layers. Carbon atoms are arranged in a different layers. In each layer, every carbon atom is linked to 3 neighboring carbon atoms. Okay, every carbon atom is linked to the 3 carbon atoms. Where does the 4th electron goes? Thus, 4th electron of each carbon is free to move. 4th electron is free to move. So, we can find its free layer. These free electrons make graphite a good conductor of electricity. When we find a free electron, there is a flow of heat. There is a conduction of heat. Therefore, it is a good conductor of electricity. Different layers can slide one over the another. Different layers can slide one over the another. This makes the graphite a soft and a good lubricant. This makes the graphite a soft solid as well as a good lubricant. But in actual, they are very hard in nature. But there is an exception in the case of a graphite. They are very soft solid and a good lubricant and conduct the electricity due to free electrons present in them.